So I started to play with an idea around like a cliche day in the life of Silicon Valley, and it didn't quite land, I guess. We'll
No,
see
it
what the.
didn't. No, not even close.
Welcome to the Friday Flow with Jordan, and let's go. Fact news and all the trends. Tune in now with your friends.
Hey, Will.
Hey, Jordan.
How's it going?
Very good. I'm now in situ.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out how to make our heads the same size. I just don't think that our heads are the same size, so I don't think that's going to work out very well.
We're just going to have to deal with it.
We are. Okay, well, we have quite a big docket. Actually, at first, I was just going to really hone in on two things. And then like 5 minutes ago, Will threw like 5 other things that he really wanted to talk about on here. So let's just knock out the Bewley requests first. Let's knock them out. Let's start with Anthropic's new launch.
We love to see shipping from the big foundation model teams.
Okay. I'll be honest. I saw like a little headline. I didn't even have time to click it, but Will has already figured out a way not just to read it, but to build something with it. So just explain what it is, and then I'll switch over to your game.
Well, I think it's awesome. I think everyone is making their own AI agents, their own vibe coding environments. And what Anthropic launched today is what they're calling Artifacts, which is a way not only just to build, like they already have got a very good coding engine, but actually be able to seamlessly power and share their own, your own content. So here you can build applications, you can share them. They're hosted by Claude. You don't have to worry about any of that backend work. And so I did a quick one-line game to test it out, and it's hosted. Is it hosted, Jordan? Can you see it?
Boom. Bill's favorite Flappy Bird. Here I go. Ready, go. Oh, boy.
Is he
boy.
gonna make one? Hey, your best was
game
one.
over.
Okay. There you go.
Okay.
Hey, it's counting. It's playing along.
It's official.
And that's awesome. So I just sent you a URL. You could get straight in there and play the game.
Yeah, just clicked it and I'm good to go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's I think it's an interesting world. We were talking about Base 44 last week selling. They have a very similar product where you don't have to worry about what's happening behind the scenes with the database, the hosting. It seems like Claude's doing that themselves directly in their native chat function. So I don't know what it means. Where's this headed? What do you think about this and the eating the software layer that the foundation models might be doing?
Okay, well let me actually point out one thing that I saw in their announcement that I thought was pretty interesting. You authenticate, so you can make an app, send it to somebody. Me as somebody you send the app to, I actually authenticate through Claude, so Claude knows that it's me. It says that it's going to use my subscription API usage, meaning like if you made an app that like more like LLM capabilities in it, you, Will Bewley, you don't want to pay for the API usage of me as the user. So I thought that was super cool. So it's like creating the shell that somebody else can then go use, but then they're going to be paying for the LLM usage. So actually that to me was like the coolest innovation here. Everything else, I've been there, done that. I've seen it.
I think it's a cool idea as well because it also promotes more vibe coding because like one of the blockers, I guess, is if you have a viral app, all of a sudden you're going to have this huge bill. And actually what this is doing is it's separating the payer and the builder. So if this Flappy Bird went viral, it's not all on me to pay for the hosting here. It's going to be on everyone who's signed up for it. I think we're on the docket a bit later talking about Andrej Karpathy. He has an app that he's hosting himself that went fairly viral that does menu pitches. And he says it's definitely a cost base for him now because people use it. It runs a lot of image-based prompting on the back end, and he's just having to pay out for it every time.
Oh.
So he needs to move over to Claude.
Do you mean this app that I already had queued up?
It's great that we align on the docket before we get into it. It's great.
Yes. Menu Gen is a reason why I'm showing this. But yeah, you get $3 in credit when you sign up. Actually, it's funny in the video, Andrej Karpathy's video, which I'm going to discuss in a second, he says he's giving everyone $5 credit. So I'm assuming that video has gone viral. Everyone signed up for it. And so
I was
he's
gonna say.
lowered it to $3.
Yeah,
so
the YC
$3
video has over 1 million views on it, so he's probably spent $5 million on tokens of people signing up to his app. So he needs to get onto Claude.
Yeah, but this is actually pretty cool. Upload a menu, generates all these pictures. I mean, they're pretty horrible pictures, but I mean, it does the job. It's a really good idea. That was fun. Well, yeah, let's jump into Andrej Karpathy because it's interesting. The video from, what is it, YC's AI Startup School. I actually got sent this video by like 10 people, and they all wanted to show me. They're like, oh, you have to watch it. It's like mind-blowing. And I actually didn't think it was very mind-blowing. But it wasn't until I realized that 10 people sent it to me that I disagree with it so much, and I'm in the weeds of exactly what Andrej Karpathy is talking about, that to me it just was like, I know these things. But he did a really, really great job of simplifying and explaining using analogies of how he thinks about the ecosystem. I thought it was so after that I thought it was very mind-blowing. I think it related to a lot of people. And so I wanted to kind of talk about a couple key points, a couple key point takeaways.
Yeah, I think a quick takeaway on that, I think I was the same. I watched it, I was like, this is interesting. The fact that it got sort of wide recognition, it felt almost like an Overton window kind of thing where it kind of jumped into mainstream a little bit. So we're like in the weeds of it, so we expect it all the time. I think it's the same thing as what ChatGPT did. Like GPT 3.5, their playground was out, but it wasn't until it was wrapped in a wrapper of a chatbot would it actually kind of jump into the mainstream. And I think Andrej has done a great job with, for whatever reason, this just really resonated with folks as well. So it's really cool to see.
I'm not actually going to play any of it, but just so you can see what he looks like, to put a face to the story here. But one of the big takeaways that I got maybe like 3 is talked about partial autonomy, which I thought was very great, I guess, wording of it. So partial autonomy, my analogy for that is in agentic commerce. If you were to start off slow, you don't want to stress the users out. You want them to be you want to have a little bit more normal experience than they're used to. You don't want to just blast them with full autonomy. Is like if you asked, go buy me a black t-shirt. And if you had full autonomy, then the system would just go off, purchase it for you. It would have your credit card. You would just get it delivered to your door. Partial autonomy could be, here are 3 choices. Which one would you like? You could even like dial that up a little bit to a little bit more autonomous, where it just puts 3 of them in your cart and it's just expecting you to click a button. So these are like levels of autonomy. And so it's something that he discussed as, you want users to be comfortable. We can't just go 0 to 100 with autonomy, even if the technology is ready, which he says it's not. In some regards, I might disagree with part of that in certain situations. But what I think is important is not to overwhelm the user with too much future, right? Like I think there is a level of understand the user, making them comfortable with like a step-by-step, inch-by-inch procedure to get them to full autonomy. So I thought that was, he worded it very well. I thought that was great. What did you take out of that? Yeah,
I think I agree. And he kind of showed how in Perplexity and other places, there's like dials that you can turn from kind of like full autonomy or semi. I think that's absolutely right. We kind of talk about it with things like self-driving cars. Until they like don't kill any humans, people aren't going to be like super thrilled about them, even if they're like 99% safer than a human. I think for like any new technology shift, you don't just want like a 10% better or 20% better for like real adoption. It needs to be 10x, right? We always talk in software about things need to be 10x to get embedded. And I think that's the same here with like it moving over, again, the Overton window. Things need to be a 10x better experience. And if there's risk in making a purchase fully autonomously, people want that human in the loop element still. How long, I guess, Jordan, my question to you, how long until it will be there where most things are going to be fully autonomous and kind of like shopping or something else? Do you think we have to get there step by step, or do you think there's like a 10x change that kind of could happen overnight and everyone's going to be comfortable using it?
I truly think it will be step by step. I just don't know how long in between each step is going to take. Again, like the technology is there in a lot of these situations. Like it can literally do fully autonomous work better than a human, better than current technology. It's just are humans ready for it? Are they going to trust it? Are they going
We're
to
not ready.
let the system go? I know we have a few friends that we will bring on the pod eventually, but
Yeah,
you know,
I think that's yeah. I think that's interesting.
yeah.
Both OpenAI and Perplexity have autonomous shopping, but notably, to your point, Operator from OpenAI does not go through the final sale. It'll get you to the point of checking out, and then it'll tell you that you have to go take over the wheel. The same thing with Perplexity. They fall short even in the Pro version of Perplexity. You can now have an embedded payment with PayPal in there to actually buy the item. But again, you have to be the human on the trigger, on the clicker to get it through. So yeah. How long it'll be? A couple months, couple years?
Yep,
I think
we'll see.
We'll wait and see.
Another thing that he talked about that resonated with me, and I really don't think very many people have tried this and like can feel the pain, is he built this menu gen thing in a few hours. Great. Then to actually get it to, I'm going to say production. I don't mean just like deploying it. I mean, you want to accept payments. You want to have emails be sent. You want to set up your domain name. There's all these things behind the scenes that it's gotten easier to do, but it's still not that easy to do. I've set up a bunch of little like dumb side projects that can accept money. Like you can pay for stuff, but I find myself spending way more time on all of that stuff than I do on the code. So I have like a couple of side projects. It takes me like 2 hours to make a thing. And it does take me like a week to get the ability to accept.
It's
a
like the
Stripe
10%.
payment
You get 90% up front, and then it's the 10% that's going to be the thing that makes you not want to
my
actually
90-90.
ship it.
It's the 90-90. 90% done, 90% to go. But I thought that was cool. And actually, there has to be companies that will be coming out. Something that came to my mind was like Clerky. So Clerky, I believe we used them to like incorporate a long time ago. But it basically just makes some of these like very trivial like business processes automated. So like to get a corp, like to actually incorporate your business, there's like a lot of stupid paperwork. In order for me to use Stripe, I need to like have all these things, check the box, check the box, check the box. There should just be like a plug and play business, right? It's like you could just add this thing. I understand there's a lot of implications and like there's fraud and all this other stuff. I get why I can't just like accept payment, but it's still really hard to do.
Yeah, and I think everyone's working on it, right? I think like Stripe will come out with their own version that, and they'll have a partnership with Cursor so that you can like have it embedded immediately. Yeah. MCP I think could also be a great workaround here for a lot of these pieces. Who's building out like the TCP IP of this place? I think it's interesting. I think it's definitely going to get solved. I think Andrej's like pain point here. I completely agree with it. You know, he's 90% of the way there and he's still 90% to go. But I do think that's completely solvable as well. So I think within 6 months that's gonna be gone.
Totally. Yeah, let's move on to Airtable. I think Airtable, they just announced and they relaunched in the AI era. And so actually, let me just pull up their homepage. When I say they relaunched in the AI era, I mean they relaunched in the AI era. They are literally just trying to compete here with, you know, the Lovables, the V0s. And
if you hopped in the Wayback Machine and looked at Airtable.com last week, it would not look like this at all.
Correct. Bold move. I mean, they're a huge company. It's not like they're not doing well. I think they're playing hyper offense. I really don't think that they're playing defense. What do you think? Like, do you think this is a good move? I have tried it, so I could talk a little bit about why I think it is good for some things and very not good for other things in terms of creating AI applications.
Yeah. Well, I think in this new modern era, and if you're like very AI pilled like we are, then you need to have like a real bet the house kind of moment. And if you are kind of more legacy software, like you were, you've been around for 10 years, your business is going to be pretty fundamentally different from sort of an AI native startup at competing. And so I think it was extremely bold of them to go this approach. They kind of announced it with a whole long blog post about they don't just want to bolt on like AI applications to their app, kind of like tongue in cheek at a lot of what other companies have done. For instance, it's like we use Notion a lot. I have no idea what the AI features of Notion do, but they keep telling me about them like every time I go onto Notion. What is an AI native version of Notion look like from the ground up? So I think that's what the approach that they've taken. They're known for a spreadsheet front end database product, so it's kind of like no codey. But if you're used to Excel, you can build out some cool apps in it. It was very developer first as well, so I think it makes sense that they were like leaning more onto that community here. But yeah, we're going into a new uncharted territories. If you're very pro it, I think you have to take this kind of bet. I was looking at it, they've raised over $1 billion in venture capital. They have like 500,000 customers like paying. So they're a crazy scale for which to make this kind of bold change. I think time will tell, but I really do think it's a great leadership in like kind of what to expect. And I think we'll see more of these kind of legacy, more or older companies from kind of like web, 2.0, have to make a decision. Are they bolting on, or are they actually going and rewriting the whole thing?
Yeah, I don't think this is not a pivot. Like, it's not like they're pivoting. I actually think they had most of this under the hood anyway. When I say under the hood, I mean they actually had the ability for you to do what they call I think they call it Omni, is like their new AI agent that builds the whole thing for you. You used to be able to tell it what you wanted to build out, and it would do it kind of for you. I think they've just gone and reskinned that and made it a lot more V0 lovable like. But under the hood, they are a database company. Under the hood, they are a spread. They just do very, very interactive spreadsheets, and that's not changed. So this does not remove any of their current customers. It's basically a way to add more functionality to like the building process of these spreadsheets, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think you're right. I think a lot of these companies in like playing in this space where they have real customers paying to utilize their application, and where the application is like extremely flexible, they have a decision about like, do they want to be more verticalized, or do they want to be a piece of the whole pie? I guess if to take it back to the Claude piece, Claude have made a decision about like, presumably they've got a partnership with some database, right, to use that as a backend. When we spoke about Base 44, again, they had already made a decision about which database you were going to use. I wonder if databases, as companies, are actually going to start building these front ends on top of theirs to be a vibe code. Like, is Postgres going to launch a vibe code project because they're the kind of core base? That's almost like what this Airtable feels like, that they're the database, but they've decided to own more of that front end.
That's what Supabase is. Supabase is Postgres, and so they've just created a layer that allows you to vibe code much easier into a Postgres database. So yeah, you're totally right. I can't imagine companies won't.
Are all these companies just going to consolidate? They're all just going to be like the exact same product, yet we're going to have like 50 different options to pick from? That's good for the consumer, right?
It's possible. You had one more topic did you want to discuss before I play a finale video?
What was I going to say? Yeah, I think we spoke a lot about vibe coding. The last one that I mentioned on there was that Replit, which was actually probably the first vibe coding platform that I have used when I was experimenting with some vibe coding. Replit have gone on to announce $100 million in run rate revenue. That's incredible. And what was interesting is this company's been around since 2011. So it's been an awesome platform. Kind of think in the early days, it was a bit similar to kind of like a CodePen, where you could have an browser-like version of like your HTML page, your CSS, your JavaScript, and you can draw your own apps up. So I think they were perfectly positioned to lean into this new era, but they were not particularly what you deem successful until this year. So they've built a fantastic platform. Getting the like uppick from consumers or from developers has actually just been a slog. So they started in 2011. They had 10 million in ARR at the beginning of this year, and now 6 months later they're 100. So it's taken them 14 years to get to 10 million, and now it's taken them 6 months to get to 10x that. Like, that's truly incredible, and it shows about sort of persistence of founder. And if you have deep conviction in something, I think if anything, what they're kind of proving here is that they were just too early. So they've and credit to the team for sticking it out and running with it for 14 years. That's got to be a tough slog. What do you think?
Actually, I like the idea of like the idea of if you're too early, right? Like, have you built the product too early, or have you actually built the product at the perfect amount of time where you were able to build it up enough that it was ready for this like 1 year era? And actually, I think that is the case for Supabase as well. So Supabase is this layer on top of Postgres. It was relatively popular. It was not like growing exponentially. But then with the emergence of vibe coding, the timing was perfect and everybody adopted it because it worked perfectly with the concepts of how vibe coding interacts with databases. So they've exponentially grown as well, just like Replit has. So I think there's a lot of those kinds of businesses that are
Vercel as well,
prepared.
launching V0. Everyone's kind of launched it. I think Replit, from my memory, was like the first to drop a true AI agent that can go and just build apps from the ground up. I mean, we saw today Claude. Now you can do it and you can launch it. Yep. So strong competition. They also will probably work with Claude on the back end, right? And so we'll actually see where the main usage comes from a lot of these places. But it's very exciting as a consumer that you just have so many options now of how to vibe, and I'm here for it.
All right, I'm gonna end us with this. Will, WTF is this?
So we're thinking of a Series A in the next quarter.
The market's tough, but our metrics are solid.
Listen, the deal has to close by Friday. We need to tackle this tech debt. It's really starting to pile up.
I agree. Let's look at refactoring the core modules first, maybe allocate dedicated sprints for it.
Are you kidding me? I told you this was the most important meeting of the quarter. How could you not set the alarm?
Cursor for dog walking is the future.
We're revolutionizing how you connect with trusted walkers for your furry friends.
There you go. Here's my...
What the hell is it? I still, like, what is it? You sent me this, and I don't know what it is.
So, blame midnight last night. I'm trying to go to sleep, and I saw that Google had like announced a video product within their sort of Google workspace, and so I was confused by what it was. But what it seems to be is actually like a video suite where you can actually embed, VO3 videos. So I started to play with an idea around like a cliche day in the life of Silicon Valley, and it didn't quite land, I guess. We'll see what
No, not even close.
You didn't like it?
No, I don't understand the end. Who is that guy?
I'll have to work on my prompts a bit more.
Yeah.
It needs a soundtrack to go with it.
You keep on with your Flappy Birds and leave the videos to the real producers like myself.
All right.
Next week.
We'll see yours next week.
I'll compete. Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks, Will. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Flo.
Bye.